We're into another week, first week of April here. Well, I guess last week was a partial week in April, wasn't
Well, this is the first full week in April.
Full week in
Yes.
April. There we go. But we're all April fooled. We're all Eastered out, and now we're ready to get down to spring business here.
Remember when this used to be a holiday, Easter Monday?
I remember people talking about it, but I don't recall anybody ever saying take the day after Easter off.
Well, I don't know. Whether
I
they
recall
took it
some
off,
bosses saying, "You better be here. You're fired."
But they used to call it Easter Monday all the
Easter
time. Now
Monday.
it's just another Monday.
Now it's and it's the one day. We had an extremely casual weekend, so I slept a little later this morning than I normally do. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's the one time that the garbage is going to be right on time at 6 a.m.
I made that same mistake myself this morning.
So I didn't take the garbage out last night, and garbage men came by way too early for me to,
I made the same mistake.
They have to wait till Thursday.
But I was out at 5:45 with the dogs, figuring I had plenty of time to take the can out to the curb. And I noticed all the cans were akimbo, which means that they'd already been tossed into the back of the giant hopper.
Yeah, I mean literally 6 o'clock on the dot. 6 o'clock on the dot. I wake up to the sound of the garbage truck right out front.
So
so much for that.
We both had good experiences this weekend at two of our favorite restaurants.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we mention them? Why don't we give them a plug? You first.
Well, okay. My mother and my sister and brother-in-law came down to visit. That's my mother, Marilyn Gallagher, along with my sister and brother-in-law, Mike and Bonnie Pace. Wonderful people all, and they came down and we went to Rouge Creole, which if you haven't been to Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, you really should. I mean, it's a very unique dining experience. They got a well-rounded menu. There's something there for everybody. And I'm here to tell you that they do char-grilled oysters like... I had a dozen char-grilled oysters. I felt like a king. Mm-hmm. But I love Rouge. And I always love going there. And the personal service and the wait staff is impeccable. And the prices are okay.
Oh, yeah, they're very reasonable.
Well, some restaurants are like ouch and boing when you look at that,
I can think of a couple.
But the five of us ate, and it wasn't all that dear. But so where did you dine over the weekend?
Well,
you had a birthday weekend.
I had a birthday
Easter
weekend
dinner
and Easter. Yeah, Saturday was my birthday, and Karen took me to the little village downtown. Great Italian restaurant.
I love that little place.
It's part of the Wayne Stabler restaurant group,
mm-hmm.
and it gets better and better and better and better. And they have elevated themselves, in my mind, to famous big city downtown restaurant status. And I'll tell you why. Food was impeccable, but they've got the noise level tamped down, so you have music in the background, but you don't have to talk over it. Mm-hmm. You can have a conversation at your table without yelling. You cannot hear the people at the other tables because of the way they've got the rooms laid out, and lots of leather and lots of carpeting and lots of curtaining and things like that. And the menu is real deep. They always now have bottle specials on wine.
Nice.
And it's not where, hey, our bottle wine special is this and it's $85 a bottle. No, I'm talking about $40 a bottle. And
40 a bottle is damn cheap for a restaurant price.
Oh, it's some really good wines. But their service is at the point where the servers are now, you can see they've been trained to do this. They're walking the room and they're always looking at their tables. None of this, two of them standing in the corner talking to each other and nobody paying attention to business. So what happens, instead of, well, I'm having a conversation with you, somebody comes over and says, so, how's it all tasting? They don't interrupt you. And if you make eye contact with them as they are serving another table, they will then come to you. Mm-hmm. They'll have the empty tray from the other table and say, can I get you something? You need something?
Yeah.
Excellent service.
That's one of my pet peeves at restaurant dining is you'll be like, and you're like, how is everything? I don't know. I was about to find out.
Well, and the other thing that a few restaurants took to heart a couple years ago, where the waiter wanted to give you his entire curriculum vitae and tell you about his family and show you pictures of his dog. And
what I really want to do is direct.
and you can see somebody else's food getting cold in the window while he's jaw-jacking with you. And that seems to be gone. It's like, hey, y'all want some water? Yeah, I'll be back with those in a second. I'll take your cocktail order. The bartender brought out the cocktail. You know, I don't want to know your life story. I want to know you've got quick feet and good hands, that you can quickly go and take my order to the kitchen, and that you're not going to slosh it all over when you come back with it in a timely fashion. I don't care about the rest of your life. I never will care. If we meet socially, then I'll decide to care about you or not. But when you are in the restaurant,
You are the hired help.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And it's
You're
very,
the help.
and it shows when they know it, by the way. You are no different than the guy who changes the air filter on my car. I don't care about his kids, but I will tell you what, Little Village downtown is absolutely a premium quality Italian restaurant.
So there you go. When you're in Baton Rouge, you've got two hot tips right there. Downtown, Little Village, out in the southeast side of town, not far from the Mall of Louisiana, you've got Rouge Creole.
And I want to tell you,
You'll be happy you hit either one.
Yeah, and there are a lot of restaurants. Kevin and I used to do a regular restaurant segment. There are a lot of terrific restaurants in Baton Rouge. For those of you watching us in Lafayette, when you come to Baton Rouge, those of you watching us in the Orleans Parish or Jefferson Parish area, when you come to Baton Rouge, give us a call. We'll hook you up. We can tell you about the great restaurants here.
That's right. Actually, you can send us an email. Bill@exilestv.com. Kevin@exilestv.com. It's real simple. We're going to take our first break of the hour. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Some more crime going on in Baton Rouge.
And how much responsibility does your family have when they know that you are a crazy, wacko nut job and they don't tell anybody about it until after you've killed somebody?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I'd like to hear a good answer.
All right, we'll be back in just moments with more Exiles TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Said to take us back, so let's go way back into time when the only people that existed were cavemen, troglodytes, cavemen, cave women.
On this day in 1968.
I just had Billy Castor just jump into my head, man.
I stopped for a cup of coffee this morning because unlike you, I rolled out a little earlier than I thought. I was misreading my watch.
Man, I was like Rip Van Winkle.
And I said, well, I could use a good cup of coffee. So I went over to our buddy Lance at La Divina.
Love La Divina coffee.
And he's talking and he says, what year did you come to Louisiana? So I told him. And
71, 72?
73.
73.
And he said, oh, well, I was 11. And I said, if you're going to start this crap, I'm going to stop talking to you.
Just wanted to bring it up to make you feel old.
Yeah. On this day in 1973.
A lot of my Facebook friends do that. They're very rich on nostalgia. I belong to a group that's actually old photos and images.
You know, nostalgia isn't what it used to be.
No, it's not. But, I remember things, and I don't even go that far back in Baton Rouge. I mean, I've lived here since 1991. Used to visit here all the time, going back to about 1978. Mm-hmm. Because I lived in Natchez at the time, 77 and 78, 79, and there was nothing to do in Natchez, Mississippi. So you would get in the car and you would either go to Jackson, Mississippi, Alexandria, or Baton Rouge. And you just kind of switch them up. So
Alexandria?
Yeah. Well, Alexandria used to have a mall. It was a mall thing. You know, teenagers, late teens, early 20s.
You and Spicoli and the rest were mall rats.
Hanging out at the mall, exactly. And that's why it the other day I drove past, and I've been saying it needed to come down for a long time, but it still didn't prevent me from having a little, as I looked and saw the pile of rubble that used to be the Cortana Mall in Baton Rouge, the place that had so many of my youthful memories.
I can't bring myself to go.
They're doing a good job of taking it down and clearing it away, but...
I was their voice for 10 years.
I know. And on Saturday... It was, except for the Dillard structure, most of the mall is just a pile of rubble. And Dillard's is now starting to come down. And soon they'll start building that Amazon warehouse, which is just going to be a big rectangle. Mm-hmm. So, it's just the end of an era. But I had a lot of memories of, a lot of nostalgia for the days of my misspent youth.
Well,
I've been thrown out of Cortana Mall.
What'd you get thrown out for?
Got thrown out of Cortana Mall because me and a friend were chasing some skirt. We were trying to make acquaintance with some young girls, and it turned out they had boyfriends. And it wasn't exactly what I'd call a fight, but it was a pushy, shovey kind of a thing, And
the girls were pushing and shoving their boyfriends away from you because they wanted to get to know you better.
No. But we were a pushy, shovey with the boyfriends and their friends, and mall security caught on to it right away and kicked us all out. So, but that was the days of my misspent youth.
The first general manager of Cortana Mall, and I don't know if he's still with us or not, a fellow named Paul Redgate. He was a retired sergeant major from the United States Army.
If he was the first GM and he was retired from the Army, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's probably shuffled off the coil.
But when they were assembling the first security crowd, security people, he had them outfitted with Colt Python 357s with a 6-inch barrel on their hip for mall security. And somebody said,
that may be a little overkill.
You have any idea what might happen if somebody, because if you remember, most of the walls halfway through were like hard stone and marble.
Yeah.
You have any idea what might happen if one of these guys pulls a trigger and hits a wall instead of a person?
Ricochet.
You might liable to get 4 for 1. So yeah, they never actually patrolled the mall with those on their hip. But it was like,
what do mall cops need guns for? Come on.
Well,
give them some mace. You give them a billy club.
I'll tell you what, there was.
We used to call them a billy club. Now it's a nightstick or a riot baton.
There was a time, my phone rang about 8:30 one night and said, we need you to come out here right now. And there was actually a restaurant in the mall called Larry K. Sullivan's. It was his second location.
That. Mm-hmm.
And some guy came in the middle of a domestic dispute with his wife and took the whole restaurant hostage and actually fired 2 or 3 shots. And while the police got there very quickly, we had a very brave security person pretending he had a gun to keep this guy contained.
You have it, you're saying in his pocket.
Well, the guy was down below a half wall, and the security guard said, I don't want to have to shoot you. Put your hands up, put the gun down. And I mean, he had no weapon. But, you know, in the age of domestic violence, and again, don't forget, Cortana had 3 bank branches inside the mall and 5 expensive or semi-expensive and expensive jewelry stores.
Yep.
So I can see where armed security might not be a bad idea. But they didn't go for that at the time.
Well, it just, like I said, you just felt that little twinge watching that institution come tumbling down.
It was the largest single-level shopping mall on the planet when they opened their doors.
Wow.
1.15 million square feet of retail shopping, and with the exception of the department stores, which had second floors, the mall itself was all on one level, and that was unheard of in those times.
What used to be there?
What used to
Nothing?
be there? It was,
Was it just nothing?
well, they had a big traffic circle that they rearranged to put in
But that was right at Florida and
airline.
Airline.
Yeah, which is what this was. Wasn't it Funfair Park was there?
Funfair Park was on the west
Funfair
side.
Park was on the other side?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. There was a drive-in theater there. That's what
Drive-in
there
movie
was.
theater.
A drive-in movie theater was there. I can't
That makes
remember its
sense.
name. But yeah, a drive-in movie theater. All right, when we come back, how much responsibility do you have if you've got a sibling or a child that is an unstable nut job? We'll talk about that in just a moment.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us this morning. So, as we ended our week, we had an incident where a man rammed a car into two Capitol Police officers at the U.S. Capitol.
I'm glad you're talking about this, because didn't this story disappear from the news cycle quickly?
Well, actually, I saw it again last night and again this morning as they're finding out more. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this, because I'm sorry, this kind of thing hacks me off in a lot of different ways. He crashed his car into two officers, killing one of them, injuring the other, and then he crashed into a barricade. He got out wielding a knife.
And was shot.
And he was dispatched by other Capitol officers.
Okay. First thing I want to say is, over the weekend, conversation with family. You know, I love my family. We don't always agree. If all he had was a knife, why'd they have to shoot him? Because he had a deadly weapon, period.
By the way, you know, a cop will shoot you more quickly with a knife than if you've got a gun. Because it takes about, if they're 7 feet away from you, it takes about 3/4 of a second from them to put that knife into your chest.
It's like, why did he have to shoot him if all he had was a knife? It's like, because he can kill you with a knife. It's a deadly weapon. And if you have a deadly weapon, protocol says, you know, center body mass, double tap.
Well, and I don't know if the officer who shot him was the officer that got grazed by the blade, but that's entirely possible.
Could be.
There were a couple officers there.
But the thing that I noticed was, after the act was over with and then the investigation began and bits and pieces of information about this guy started to leak out, we started to find out that his family knew that he was out there.
Yeah.
That he was, you know, when I say out there, I mean, you know, out there.
He's nuts.
Yeah.
Let's just say it plainly.
That he was an unbalanced individual and a devotee of the Reverend Louis Farrakhan, and who's got some pretty out there ideas himself. The man probably needed some kind of mental health care.
The suspect, I guess he's no longer a suspect, 25-year-old Noah Green, died at a hospital after being shot by Capitol Police. But here is what his family said, including his brother, who, by the way, loaned him his car.
Yeah.
They said that he thought, Noah Green, that he was under government thought control and was being watched. He described himself as a follower of the Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan. Spoke of going through a difficult time when he leaned on his faith. Talked about being suicidal. Talked about knowing to his family members that he was unbalanced and was having problems. His family said he was delusional, paranoid, and had suicidal thoughts. All right? My question is, if you are his family and you know this, do you lend him your car? Do you let him just kind of wander around the planet? Or do you say, you're going to stay with me, Noah, we're going to go make an appointment, we're going to have someone help you with these things?
What you're asking is, do the immediate family members have a responsibility to intervene?
Exactly.
Because we see this happen over and over and over again, that people that needed some kind of intervention didn't get one, committed a horrible deed, and then the family starts talking about what a nutball they were.
Exactly. Now here's the deal. We all have a responsibility. If I have a dog that is excitable and aggressive, I have a responsibility to keep that dog on a very short leash so it doesn't hurt anybody.
And possibly even muzzled.
Yes. I have a responsibility to supervise that dog. And I am liable if I don't. Now, I know we do not have the best mental health care in the world. I get that. But we do have some mental health care. And so all these people...
There's counseling available for everybody.
We have got one dead, one wounded, and the guy who was obviously delusional.
Two dead, including...
He's dead.
Yeah, we have two dead. One innocent dead.
And this is not the first time this has happened. How about the guy about 5 or 6 years ago on Southwest Airlines that was so out of control, 3 full-grown men had to lay on him in the aisle. And he kept getting up every time they were trying to let him up and be more combative, and he eventually asphyxiated, laying in the aisle of that airliner. And then afterward, the person who was with him, his father, said, oh yeah, he's off his meds and he's off his head. It's like, you know what?
Why'd you bring him on this airplane?
If I had a badge and some handcuffs, I would have hooked that guy up right now.
Yeah.
But where is the responsibility? And why don't we as a society talk a little bit about that? If you knew.
The Boulder shooter, Ahmed Alissa, his family member said he was very troubled. If you knew he was troubled, why didn't you get him some counseling?
Well, you know, here's the deal. These people, their excuse is, well, there's a stigma with seeking mental health care. You know what I say to that? I say, bull. You know what? There is a stigma to having any kind of aberrant behavior or addiction. We are a society worldwide that likes to label people, good or bad. That does not abrogate your responsibility. If you know that your little brother is paranoid, delusional, thinks he's under government mind control, maybe suicidal, maybe homicidal, you don't lend him your freaking car. You say, oh no, not today, Noah. I'm going to go take it for an oil change. And then you call the coroner and you say, I think you need to evaluate him and maybe we need to hold him for 72 hours. And if you don't, and something bad happens, I believe there should be consequences.
Okay. Noah Gaines, was that his last name?
Noah Green.
Green. Noah Green aside, because the number of people, injured or killed in his tirade was relatively low. 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3, including himself, because he brought about his own death.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about the Boulder shooter, you start talking about San Bernardino, California, and a lot of the nightclub in Florida.
The Atlanta guy.
The high school in Florida, the Atlanta guy. What they almost all of these have in common is these people weren't right in the head.
No.
And a family member knew it. The Sandy Hook Elementary School, that poor woman who was murdered by her son knew that her son was off his rocker. Mm-hmm. That's why the guns were under lock and key. And he managed to kill his mom and get the key.
Yeah.
But if she knew that her son was dangerously disturbed, why didn't she get in touch with someone? I mean, every state has a health department that will help you with these things. Every state.
Take him to the emergency room. They can't turn you away. When I was a young adult, there was still such a thing that happened in families where they would make a call and they would say, I am very, very concerned about Marty. He's been making statements that are violent and delusional.
You should see his social media posts.
Yeah, and I want you to evaluate him. But now, I mean, the woman with Sandy Hook with her son, she was very much a socialite, well-to-do, and was embarrassed that her son was a potential monster killer. So she went, as we used to call it, whistling past the graveyard, hoping nothing would happen, and guess what?
She tried to keep him locked up in the house like a crazy ant in the attic or something.
Yeah, the Atlanta guy might have killed more if his own father hadn't called the cops and said, I think that's my son, and we put a tracker on his cell phone. He might have gotten to where he had killed more people before they apprehended him. But why didn't you make this call before?
Yeah. That's what always angers me is the number of people, neighbors, relatives that, he was very disturbed. He was talking all kinds of crazy. Why didn't you tell anybody? Why did you wait until this happens before you're willing to talk to anybody about it?
Well, I mean,
is it that families, that's their dirty little laundry they don't want people to know, or what?
Or they hope it's going to be all right, or you know what else?
Because you know what, Bill, I don't know a single family that doesn't have at least one mentally ill individual in the family.
Oh, yeah.
It's common. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
And there are varying varying degrees of severity.
Sure.
But you know what else I think? I think a lot of people don't want to even risk an evaluation for fear that their child may hate them. And so they let it go.
They may hate you. You know what? They may hate you now, but if they heal, they won't.
I get that. You get that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is why Bo Clark is coming to see you as soon as we're done.
I hate you, Bill.
But you'll love me later. But, you know, I'm sorry. This bothers me. If your child hit their head and when they woke up were speaking a different language, you would run to the doctor. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there, this family is telling us unequivocally he was delusional, he was paranoid, he had suicidal thoughts.
And you all did what?
You watched him kill people. You loaned him your car.
To what extent, you know, and I know the law is pretty clear on this, that they're not, but to what extent maybe should the relatives who knew be held accountable?
Well, you know, I think it would be a difficult piece of legislation, but do it like the guy in Southwest Airlines.
How about, would it be difficult to make them, if you have a violently mentally ill member in your family, you are a mandatory reporter?
Well, you make them a conservator is what you do. But I don't know that you can make someone involuntarily a conservator. The guy on Southwest, his dad was his companion and was in charge of his medication. I think you could make a case in the absence of any other law as like, yo, Bubba, you put him on this cylinder that gets pressurized to 8,900 feet where 140 people and him can't get off. And when things go wrong, you go, oopsie, he didn't take his medication. I would have hooked that guy up before he even got to the jetway.
We'll discuss this a little bit more in just a moment. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more Exiles.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345. 4345.
So we're back with Exiles TV, and if you were with us for the last segment, we established that there is a very real problem with mental health in the United States, especially with people whose mental health is so bad that they become a threat to others. And there is a problem with family members that often know that their loved one could be a threat to others, but they don't tell anybody. Now, what could legally be done to help remedy the situation? Or does it have to be one of those public service campaign type outreach things?
Well, here's what's interesting. I mean, you know I own firearms, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say that I know that you have certain issues mentally. Mm-hmm. You've told me about delusions that you have, or you've told me you sometimes feel like life isn't worth living and you want, and I mean, this is not just one passing aside. I think in my mind, Kevin really needs some psychiatric help. And I take you to the shooting range, and I put one of my guns in your hand, okay?
And I just decide to turn around and...
Well, and you don't even have to hit anybody. You don't have to kill anybody. They are gonna hook me up because I had pretty good knowledge that you had a mental defect or a problem, or you were going through some sort of a mental health crisis, and I put a firearm in your hands. Well, why does that not apply when these people freely admit, oh yeah, he was off his rocker? When they freely admit that, and they let him borrow a car, you know, or whatever else, and he goes out and he commits a horrible, violent crime, why do they have no responsibility? That is completely unfathomable to me. And they will say, oh, well, mental health intervention in this country is not where it should be. I agree. But it's still available. And you know what? You don't need mental health intervention to say, no, Noah, I am not giving you my car because I don't know where you're going to go or what you're going to do. I don't know if you're going to try to take your own life and by running it into a bridge pylon. So no, I am not giving you the modality.
By the way, that was a nice car. It was a fairly late model Audi. It was a nice car.
Yeah.
And here he goes running it into a barricade.
So, you know.
Thanks, bro.
Where's the answer? I don't know. But I mean, think about, you know, everybody. You think about it. I think about this. If Karen gets T-boned by somebody at an intersection that is suicidal and is trying to die in their car, and she gets T-boned, and she is harmed or, God forbid, killed, and the family comes, oh yeah, we knew Joey was not well. He'd been talking about ending it all. He'd been talking about these weird delusions that Satan was inhabiting his body.
Yeah.
You know.
Why didn't you do anything about it before he, you know, ran into my wife?
Can I tell you, I am going after them.
Yeah.
Because they looked away from a potentially dangerous problem, and they did so purposefully. You know, when the family says he never showed any signs of this, we are devastated by this, we would have gotten him help, that's possible too. But when they wax poetic, when they give you a list of all the mental health issues this guy has, and then they just give him the car and say, hey, have a nice day, I hope you come back. I'm sorry, that is criminally negligent. You have to have some sort of responsibility for that. Mm-hmm. And you can't just brush it off and say, well, we don't have enough mental health care. You know what? For cases like that, emergency intervention, you have enough mental health care. Now, what happens after that might not be really, really good, but at least you have the emergency intervention that you can go to. And that's pretty much everywhere. So I don't get it. And we're going to continue to see these things happen. Now,
the thing is, it's a slippery slope of in order to do something about it, litigate something, or not litigate, to legislate something about it, you're playing around with infringing on rights.
I understand
and
that.
Things like that. And it's, like I said, it's a very slippery slope to where you got to be careful that you're not depriving people of their basic, human rights.
Wouldn't you agree that there has to be, sensible people have to agree that there is a balance between rights and responsibilities?
Mm-hmm.
If you and I go out to celebrate the end of your upcoming treatments, and I am so happy, I'm beside myself, and I take one too many scotches, and you know it, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the "I love you, man," and I'm slurring my words. Kevin Gallagher, the person, feels like he's got a responsibility to take my keys away.
I'm going to try and get your keys, and I'm going to call you an Uber.
Exactly. There is very little difference between that and what this family didn't do with this guy who lost his life and took another life in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot separate the two. And I think that if asked, most of these families would say, we didn't know what to do. And you know what? Everybody leaves it there. They don't say, well, what did you try? Who did you call? Tell me. And then tell me what they told you and tell me on what date, because if they were irresponsible and it led to these deaths, we're going to go after them. They don't do it.
Well, we didn't know what to do is what people say when they did absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
I mean,
but
when people had when they could tell you options that they tried, they list the options that they tried. When they basically are telling you that we didn't do anything, they say, well, we didn't know what to do. It's like, you pick up the phone, you call the county health unit, or the coroner's office,
or the cops, and they'll direct you.
Okay, just so you know, the coroner's office is usually the way to go if you think somebody in your family is bonkers. The coroner can,
if they're a danger to themselves or others.
Yep, the coroner can come and pick them up and hold them for 72 hours for observation and try to determine if they are indeed what you claim.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it work. I've seen it work like a charm. Where the person in question was held for 72 hours, found to be a danger to herself and others, got the care she needed, and finally wound up in a home.
Yeah.
Where she was getting constant care.
And it's not what everybody would want it to be. I get that. It's not what everybody would want it to be. But, I've always gotten into trouble when I've been on the air, which has been most of my adult life, for asking the second and third question. Because if I was the reporter holding the microphone and they said, we didn't know what to do, I'd say, well, what did you do? Second question. Well, we called somebody. Third question, who'd you call? Can't come up with a name? When did you call?
Yeah.
Who'd you speak to?
But you're right, your average reporter stops with the answer of, we didn't know what to do.
Because you know what? They don't want to be insensitive.
Well, yeah, because, the family, they're victims too. They're victims too, Bill.
They're victims of their own stupidity this time.
Well, their own inactivity.
Yeah.
I think the lesson that we need to learn is if you think someone in your family, is whether it's immediate family or a cousin. We had a cousin decades ago that was not right in the head, and it was to the criminal. He was, kleptomaniac is too simple to think, because that just insinuates he was a shoplifter. He would rip people off for no reason. He'd break into houses and steal useless crap.
Just to do it.
He'd burglarize homes and steal useless stuff just to burglarize homes.
He had an issue.
Because he wasn't right in the head, and it wasn't a member of his immediate family that finally dropped the dime on him and got him the help he needed.
Mm-hmm.
It was a member of the extended family that said, "Got to talk to you about my cousin, who is messed up in the head, and he's going to get himself hurt. Sooner or later, he's going to break into the wrong house and get shot."
Mm-hmm.
And you know what happened though? During treatments, he broke into the wrong house and he got shot.
Oh boy!
And he died in a prison hospital.
Jeez.
You know what he took? Hot Wheels cars.
Really?
Yeah. Young man in his 20s broke into somebody's house and took Hot Wheels cars.
Tell me he did not have a mental illness.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you that. We'd always thought that there was something a little off, something a little off with him, and then the older he got, the more profound it got. But his his parents and his siblings wouldn't do anything about it. So it took not me, but a member of the extended family to finally call somebody down.
A guy I went to high school with, and he worked real hard at becoming an outcast. His dad left the family when he was a freshman in high school. He would make friends, and people would try to befriend him, and he would run them off. It was obvious that he wasn't right. And his mother lived with him and his sister, 2 doors down from one of my very best friends, Andy. And he called me, and we called a couple of our other bunch, and said, we're going to go talk to Mrs. So-and-so. And she said, would you boys please, please, please take Richard under your wing. He is in trouble. He is lost. I'm afraid. Would you please take him under your wing? And we were 18 years old. And we said, sure. And only did it occur after this that we agreed that, why is she talking to us? Why isn't she calling the county health unit? Why isn't she calling the family doctor? And we tried real hard.
She's probably just hoping some positive peer influence would bring him around.
Let me tell you what happened. The night of our high school graduation, he broke off from us, see you guys later, and we got a call early in the morning that his car, full of empty beer cans, was bifurcated, split in half by a tree. And he was good and dead at the scene.
It's a shame.
Single car accident on purpose. And again, we're 18 and we're stupid because we're 18. We should have said, let's get some real help for this guy. Us buddying around with him is not going to do it.
It's just sad. Folks, I guess, until somebody makes a law, if you think you've got someone dangerously mentally unstable in your family, alert the parish health unit. Call the coroner.
And
get them the help they need before something happens.
If you want some good guidance, some anonymous guidance that is very good throughout this area, East Baton Rouge Parish and the surrounding areas, and they have it in Lafayette, and they have it in Morgan City and Houma Thibodaux, and they have it in Jefferson and Orleans, call the phone. It is the Baton Rouge Crisis Intervention Center. I'm sure they've got the New Orleans Crisis Intervention Center.
They do.
They have got trained people there that will talk to you, and they will let you know what you may or may not need to do. And you know what else? They'll give you some good, friendly support while you're doing it. Baton Rouge Crisis Intervention Center.
We're going to be back in just a couple moments to wrap things up for today's Exiles TV. Stay there.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club. a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonCountryClub.com.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Quick points before we wrap things up today. First of all, this really isn't big news because I guess they get them pretty often, but there was a magnitude 4 earthquake very near Los Angeles just a few hours ago, and right now that entire region of California is enjoying aftershocks. Because, you don't just get an earthquake. I mean, you get an earthquake and then you get temblors that go on for sometimes weeks afterwards.
Speaking of which, Shreveport had an earthquake that was detectable on Thursday.
Yep, and that was a 3-point something, so, I mean, that's a house rattler right there.
Shreveport.
Well,
what is it, St. Madrid Fault?
We're on the New Madrid Fault.
New Madrid Fault, yes.
I don't know why we call it Madrid instead of Madrid, but it's the New Madrid Fault.
It's because of them people in Missouri where it starts. They don't speak good English.
Madrid is a city in Spain, and the New Madrid Fault is named for Madrid in Spain. So who knows? Another thing that's cooking, this is a story that, I was like, well, what could have possibly gone wrong? Now we got an audit that reveals that the Louisiana Workforce Commission may have issued over 97,000 unemployment payments erroneously. This goes back to the beginnings of the COVID response, where we were through the good graces of the federal government, we were just throwing money at people who were unemployed. Some people couldn't work at restaurants, so let's give them an extra $600 a week. $847 a week?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
What could possibly go wrong? Well, now they're finding out that there were probably thousands of Louisianans who were double dipping, getting those unemployment benefits while they were working elsewhere.
Well, it's not so much double dipping. What they're finding out is a lot of people that got those initial payments, it was prior to tax season, right? So they hadn't filed their income taxes yet, and they weren't actually classified as employees. So therefore, it's a whole different ball of wax for getting unemployment compensation.
For instance, if you're contract labor, if you work and you get paid a flat fee and you take care of your own taxing accounting and you take care of your own insurance, you're not considered an employee, you're contract labor.
And here's why. Your employer is not paying unemployment compensation insurance on
for you.
Yes.
So 97,000. I'm not seeing in the story on Channel 2's website whether there is an estimated dollar value.
It's $497 million.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Almost $500 million.
Yeah, this one says 405.
Tomato.
405. $405 million. Don't worry, it's federal money.
Now,
we don't pay the taxes that are federal money.
Well, and I will say this. I will say that I have a great deal of faith in our legislative auditor, Daryl Pepera. I will also say that every state government that has unemployment was trying to do their best to get money in the hands of people who lost their jobs through no fault of their own.
Yep. But when you have that kind of high stakes, get it out now, make it happen, Captain, there's going to be problems.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people go and do their job every day, and a lot of people don't understand that they're not technically employees, and this is an insurance policy, folks. You are not covered if you are not technically an employee, which means your employer is paying matching Social Security taxes on you, is withholding your state and federal taxes, and the amount businesses pay is fairly minimal, but if you got a lot of employees, maybe it's like 0.75% that goes into the fund, which makes it an insurance fund. And again, a lot of these people, through no fault of their own, didn't realize they're not an employee. They just know they're out of work.
Yep. They don't think about the fact that maybe, that they're contract labor. They just know they're not working, they're not making any money. Go file for unemployment.
Well, and again, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't call it Louisiana Workforce Commission.
Well,
Maybe
we used to call it the Unemployment Office.
Yes.
That was before. I'm not damning Bobby Jindal for it, but that's when it changed under Bobby Jindal, when we had to give everything a cutesy-poo new name.
But here's the whole thing. If you've got people that are working who think they're employees, and it turns out technically they're not because of the way the employer classified them, workforce says, yeah, I'm in the workforce if I'm doing contract labor. I am in the workforce, but I'm not an employee. If you make it the unemployment, then you pretty much know if you're not an employee, if you're not technically classified as an employee, as they say, this isn't for you. This is not for you.
Crazy. But that's just another one. No doubt that'll work itself out, and we'll go, maybe one guilty party. But I don't know if this is something where any one person is to blame for this, but somebody's head will roll, and then we'll just get beyond it.
Well, they're just saying, I understand you didn't have the documentation, but you should have looked a little harder.
Yep.
And that really is, you call the alleged employer back and you say, did you pay matching? Was this an employee, or is it a 1099 employer?
Coming up on Wednesday's show, we're going to have the Pelican Institute here. We got an upcoming legislative session, a lot of tax reforms being discussed. What do they think are the winners and losers?
So make sure you join us. Clarence Bugs coming your way next, and we'll be back at 10. Thanks.
God bless.